top 10 without any games in the top
Es
10.
ist
Crazy
so
stuff.
krank.
They can be a bit more consistent.
Es ist
Imagine
so
where they
krank,
could
es
finish,
ist
right?
so
Way higher than
real.
top 10 you'd expect. So be interested to see
Digga,
how
als
these
ob
guys
das
do out of
einfach
stealth and
geht,
stronghold.
Digga.
Absolutely. Now, boys, we got to talk about this, all right? Flick, Anas, Thomas
Oh
HD, a trio we
mein
think
Gott, Digga.
can go all the way, but right now they're coming into day number 2 in 8th. I mean, what do they need to do? What do we need to change up to climb these leaderboards?
Und damit würde ich auch sagen, moin Leute, willkommen zur neuen Livestream auf meinem Kanal. Jetzt Livestreamen wir das FNCS. Digga, let's go.
They need to be a bit more aggressive in terms of surge positioning, right? We saw in zones like this where they land dirty docks, you know, they weren't really getting too aggressive. They usually take kills like this to look for surge tags. But typically of the better teams, you maybe see them get a bit deeper, maybe try and get positions a bit deeper in the zone so they have a larger range of teams to get for storm surge tags. Nothing too, you know, out of the norm, nothing too spectacular, but just a small tweak that they could make.
Now, I kind of want to shift topics really quickly because I want to remind everybody of our predictions coming into day number 2 of the finals. Levin, Shayo, you both agree that Anas, Flick, and Thomas HD, and this is why I brought up my point, because you do think they could go all the way.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the boys. I think they will be hungry to finally get that FNCS championship win, and they are still poised to really, you know, put a good performance into the sitting in 8th for the moment. They're still.
Wann geht das FNCS los? Weiß das jemand?
Yep, and you know I've gone with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. You know these guys have fixed all their mistakes it seems. And into yesterday, when I spoke to Tayson, he said as soon as we get Storm Surge, we are fine, and that's exactly what they did on day 1. They did have a little bit lower average eliminations than they normally would. So if today we see them with large pop-offs, this is going to be them climbing up the leaderboards, potentially looking for that championship again.
Yeah, and Sancho looks like a genius because his pick is in first right now with Refsguard, Savage, and Andretta. So if they can just stay there, Sancho's going to take it all today.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho S and Shy Wager to start our day.
This is the finale of the finals, the last day of a multi-week event. Whether you're in Party Royale, on the couch, or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play today, $1.3 million on the line for EU as well.
Digga, wer ist das denn die ganze Zeit?
And don't you go anywhere because the action is already kicking off with our #1 place team being contested at Steamy Stacks. We all saw this going down.
Oh my god, Digga, let's go!
He's actually here. No, it's actually Nexus Trio. This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million+ are on the line and the championship is at stake. Here is our defending champions.
Janus is schon dead, bro.
Chapix already trading between Highcrest. It is a deja vu moment. The
Als ob
sequel
Janus
to the
einfach schon dead
fireworks that we
ist.
saw in day 1. Shayo, it's already picking
Und
up, baby.
Oakway
It is
ist,
the FNCS
glaube
EU.
ich, Reason, ey.
Yeah, it's absolute deja
Bin ich
vu.
mir nicht
Highcrest
sicher?
already
Nee,
going
ist nicht
down
Reason.
inside the first game. We saw
Wer ist
12 games
Oakway?
played yesterday. In all, or 6 games played yesterday. There's 12 games to play. In all 6, these guys fought over and over again. Highcrest either going down first or Hen this time. It will be Highcrest, Knight, and Vortex will have to try to pick up the slack here, but with a top-tier trio, who's won this POI over and over, just breathing down your neck.
Jetzt gegen Hen gegen Vortexer. Oh mein Gott, Digga, von oben. Oh, Bruder, Hen von der 21 HP, keine Mund mehr, überhaupt gar keine. Nur für Tag, Digga. No way.
Go ahead and focus back in here. Chapix, Hen, on the like basically so close getting a repeat championship.
Krank, Digga.
We'll flip back and forth between those POIs now.
Oh, chillig, Savage.
Down at Steamy Stacks, Savage, Refsguard seem to have wiped Screwy and Nexus off the face of the Fortnite island, just with a little bit of a consequence of Andretta getting knocked. It feels like Sancho just got a free
Savage, Refsguard und Andretta, mein Trio. Mein Pferd, Digga.
Might actually still be looking for the rest of the squad for the moment. They might be slightly split, looking at how things are going so far, but with this loadout, there should be no problems at all for Savage to wrap things up.
Which is what they were worried about going into day 2. They thought they will be contested. Usually Steamy Stacks in the EU region is historically heavily contested. Last season, Andretta Refsguard was scrapped, dealt with 2-3 trios at times contested in there. So there's no stranger to that. They expected it. They bought review it, and they were ready. And now Janus, Hit, and Chapix were ready for Highcrest once again. Vortex is going to be left alone right now, and they're going to actually go ahead and catch him out in the bush.
Oh ja, wie, Digga.
It is The Bush play when you
hat sich Vortex geholt. Wer ist Ockway, Leute?
Right now, you're looking at a 6-1 advantage right now going Hen's way. And anytime any team walks out of Craigie, they do really well. And
Thomas und Flick, chillig.
They get double-digit victory royales. That is the potential of the pop-off that they have here. But Shio, pop-off potential for Thomas AC flicking on us. Day 2 is usually their day.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks, and if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too, of where you want to go. It could be big like Dirty, it could be small like this junction.
Irgendwas mit Trios und Red Rush. Achso, X-Terios und Red Rush.
Where they travel around the map. There's many different things to do. The basic rule for everyone, though, is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone, you got to win that fight. So we already saw it happen. The big names coming off of spawn unscathed, basically. And everyone else is, really amping up to have a very good first game. There's still 30 trios alive right now. The only 2 that have dropped we watched. That was Screwy's trio and then High Chris's.
Oh my God, sieht man halt
eben alles. Rotating now, looking for lots of damage around the map.
And that was our third place team, Mysterios, with Red Rush and Mappy, with a kind of an unexpected performance. Not anybody really had them. Red Rush, the FNCS squad champion, alongside with Mysterios and Mappy. They had a really solid day. They kind of played conservatively. They were able to get a lot of placement points.
Es ist natürlich noch Late-Game, also das ist natürlich jetzt noch nicht so spannend. Im Endgame gleich, es wird mega. Noch 5 Minuten und ab 5 Minuten, also in 5 Minuten wird Action. Da gibt's Action.
Absolutely, and for this team on screen, I mean, you can see the stat, the importance for these guys.
Zwei Teams sind
on the
noch
second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching
Sogar
today.
Zwei ganze Trios. Ein Trio ist gar nicht reingekommen. Es sind 32 Trios drin.
Be in the top 10 won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2 they really start popping off. Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games. The issue is, I'm not sure looking at this lobby if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map. How spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be looking at as well. The level of competition is so high, and for these guys on the top right to be able to perform, I mean, they're going to have to pull out miracles from inside of them. Like, it is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're going to have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of Zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone, so you have him.
Ich glaube, der YouTube-Stream hat mehr Delay als im Party Royale.
Nebs' trio has been doing really solid, considering they have not been finishing in the top 10. If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, Game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations out of 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement, they were taking out the likes of Adil's trio. So, hey, you got to watch out for Nebs, who kind of surprised everyone during the qualifier stage, being able to qualify out of Stealthy Stronghold. They're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like in Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, so sometimes it's good to get contested, because now they could just go ahead and post up. You don't have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems with it in day 1, this makes things alleviates it just a little bit there.
Watching Wakey and also rotate some people who are dropping on the way outside to the middle.
Bro. Oh my God, no.
Just going inside cars. Sometimes, though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get
Arkansas ist aber so gut wieder wie Vorleicht. Also könnte sich Vorleicht
machen. To make sure you're playing that first game very close to the chest. Sometimes we're watching EU yesterday. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time, though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're going to start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it. Here's Pizza, Ardent, and Fast Roki. This trio is the most troublesome on this entire day and on the Fortnite map. Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position. They love the third-party fights. You can see it right now. They're bothering another trio, just trying to rotate. They have to make an entire wall just to get by this river. This is crazy. Fast Roki and Pizza, especially in the endgame, man, they love taking over height and just interrupting people. The crazy thing is, though, when there's no one to actually counter, they don't actually end up doing too much. They end up not having a game plan set in stone. So I hope they find a trio to kind of act off of, or they might be in trouble.
Now we're taking a look at Bloomy's trio, putting pressure down on Tayson's trio. Builds are on fire because the car exploded. Bloomy's trio is kind of a trio that's coming from that west coast of Fort Crumpet. If you didn't watch yesterday, they've been doing solid work considering they've been avoiding a lot of the kind of the scary trios coming out of that side of the map. And they did really well. They've been around the top 10. A lot of people expected them just to be Storm Surge tags for that side of the map. But they were able to get away, make some smart rotations, rotate early, like reset how important it can be. Now, when I was watching Tayson Nate and ForZR, they kind of play a little bit conservative.
Ey, Spriggle, please come rein, Mann.
They weren't really looking for eliminations. They were just looking for placement. If they can match, we all know what they can with that elim firepower that they do have behind their trio, they can essentially move up the leaderboard a little bit faster rather than just staying kind of in the middle of the top pack.
Yeah, Red Rush on your screen now, 4-0 that we were watching before. A lot of these invisible type trios have just survived so far on the first day. For day 2, if they want to end up coming first, yeah, you got to hit these shots like Mappy is right now as well.
Mappy, bro. Red Rush und Exteriors.
And grab this game for your own trio.
That's what I was about to ask you, Shayo. Is it just about being conservative and trying to sit all the placements, or is it about going for the win? And you answered it right there. You gotta go for the win because no one's gonna give you the crown. You're gonna have to take it from our defending FNCS champions and Hens trio.
Sometimes, depending on the zone, you never know exactly. You know, the game can give you that win. Yesterday, we saw the craziest things towards the south side. Consistent type trios end up playing low ground. They end up winning out the games a little bit more. It's very difficult for Height to do much. You get bounce back zones. They don't have that much room to end up getting eliminations. And eliminations are also a big wave in the end of the game. Take these two trios, for example, as well. Squeezy on the bottom side, DKS, Gray, and Shakaz on top.
Tulex, bro.
The guy on your screen right now. Glorious, and no pun intended, at just playing these end games and having the position on Height. These guys controlled the game yesterday so much from the 5th zone onwards, but then basically choked after that. You know,
Wolfies, bro.
That title spot, the big all the way up top high ground, and other teams rolled over them. Maybe they can clap back. Wolfies is going for right now. Actually bullying Exteriors and Mappy, but maybe just looking for damage. They'll move on. You don't want to throw your game over just one mid-game fight. You want to survive for the whole entire time.
You're looking at what's happening, the adjustments already. Wolfies was 15-15 that yellow house, games 1-2. They kind of split retail row against Kiko's trio. Now they're rotating early. We're seeing the retail row teams rotate early. Scram trio, the other retail row is rotating towards Lazy Lake. This time Wolfies is kind of pushing that Cammy split, and that Cammy split right now is being held down by Red Rush's trio.
We talked about early game as well in terms of how players want to, you know, go about their game. It's about defending your drop spot. Now towards mid game, you'll see this cool little graphic above the mini map on the right side. It says damage threshold 121 above for Toos. This entire mechanic is called Storm Surge. So basically, when you're rolling in this game, there's so many players that end up staying alive. You want to give these guys a challenge and make sure the entire server is staying healthy as well. So 90 players will have to drop down to 70 for this entire player threshold, and that's decided by how much damage they do. So you basically have to deal damage or you get dealt damage by this purple lightning that comes down. You'll see it in a second. Toos is ahead of it right now. Everyone after their drop spots is playing for this Storm Surge threshold. They'll look for damage. For Toos, it was long range beams. Over here, it's box fights between 5 different trios. Kiko, last live on his squad. The Mentos following closely behind them. This is a horror movie. He's trying to move forward. So many beams from all spots. As an
Kiko's like that and that, Digga.
Who tricks and that's one trio taken out.
You know, sometimes you take arrows to the shin, but there's nothing like an arrow to the elbow. That's gonna knock you down. That's gonna take you out. But now
Vanlast, okay.
MXR.
Ja, Vanlast Trio ist gar nicht gut dabei, Mann.
Place right now. They have been very inconsistent. They were going down to Stealthy Stronghold. In fact, game 5, they were kind of splitting some randomness. But now maybe they could come up.
Oh no, bro. Oh.
Right now, they're affecting this
Digga, da ist
rotation
die
right here
Zone
just by
ganz schön
being
Pressure.
here.
Hey, you're talking about randomness. What is this?
Pizza
I'm
Stats,
counting like 7
chillig.
different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fast Roki, the Interrupters, High Ground fighting Stompy right. Down below, Dementos is not stopping. Jamside is going down in the build. This is a crazy 6-way fight. ST's here too, making it off spawn for I think the first time I'm watching, and they're looking real good with this loadout.
This is just a repeat of
ST,
day 1.
Marvin
All the
und
southern
Bad
teams
Sniper.
from Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, Caddy Corner.
Oh, ST, Bro, ich hoffe,
rotations
Digga,
and
komm.
all colliding as you're seeing Jamside
Bad
get eliminated
Sniper.
by Podosai. this is what's happening the entire tournament. It looks like it's going to be a repeat in day 2. If any of these trios want to get better for the day in placement, they just have to avoid this kind of white line engagement that's happening right here, Shayo. This traffic jam hasn't stopped, and this is game 7 out of the 12.
It's going to get crazy as the day goes on, too. These are teams playing conservative. Bad Sniper inside Storm, eating some damage, looking for an angle. Not going to really find it, but has some meat to eat, so it's all good on his end. Once again, in terms of reading what's going on screen, it might be confusing. You know, there's health bars to watch. Once that threshold thing pops up on the right side as well, that's like an extra health bar to kind of show you guys how the trio's doing. If they're about 300, 400 damage above, it's really good. Anything below that, sometimes they could be in trouble. There's even more trios, though, still inside the Storm. Hellfire's so far back. Okay, never mind. It's the reverse side.
Everyone's
looking good. Oh, look at this. So many people saw to play side by side, close together. And like this is gonna be rough rotates all the way across.
A very nightmare type of rotation if the zone keeps pulling north, but also a nightmare start for Red Rush. Asterios and Mappy down already. Our third place team is out. That gives room for 4CR Tayson board and Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky right now. Like, you nailed it, man. They've been holding on to height. They will be at height. Like about 4 out of the 6 games, they were on height, and they got it taken away from them. And only one of them, they were able to hold on and get a victory out. So expect this team to continuously to fight for height, to spend all their match to hold on to height, do whatever that they can, because they're all in for that strategy. And when you go all in, you saw it already. They get down to the shambles, but I'm expecting them to at least get 1 or 2 victory outs here today.
This is such a weird game, though. Yesterday, we were watching organized driving, basically. Everyone in their own lanes, way far away. They were, you know, following traffic laws. This time, I'm watching bumper cars. I'm looking at trios just bouncing off of each other, shooting over and over again. No one is leaving space for anyone to walk by. Even Nate, so far away from his trio, is looking to affect this one. Trulex getting hard beamed. This is troublesome.
This is just what it means, that how much eliminations are. 2 points apiece, Shio. Expect people to go for more elims because they have to make up some ground to catch up to the top of the leaderboard.
Oh my god.
Everyone's also just bunched up at the south side right now. There's a
Jerky schon tot, achso.
Some elevation will be tricky to actually navigate. There is one big hill, and there are some kings on it. A god trio maybe who's watching, kind of an opposite lifeguard on this river. They're actually looking to take out people who might be drowning, and everyone's gonna have to start to swim in just a second. Jerky's already down, so Trulix and Queasy are already looking bad, and look at who they have to go by. Snazy, Andalex, Tuz Kiriachi, Shaco's up top. This is like playing a game on the hardest veteran difficulty, and you have no ammunition. Your movement speed is slower as well. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this one.
This is gonna be a ruthless rotation. All eyes to see who could they look at all the hard mats already expended here, because they have been box fighting, they have been trading blows here. The entire south side of the map here in zone 4. Let's take a look at it. Yes, so many trios are on the south side here. The north side is still a little bit going to be troublesome, but not so much. And there's already a team right there in the orange in the middle of that map. They're going to have strong positioning. That is the high point of this section. But the river is available for rotations. On the top right of your screen, that is Squeeze's trio, who've had a rough start to their tournament run. Shifting down to Camp Cod, having trouble with Storm Surge, not being able to get what they normally do. Let's see how they do here in day 2. Making those
alle 3 FNCS-Skins, alle nebeneinander.
No one's holding anything back. Stormy Red already going down.
Ey, du scheiß Wolf.
Tuz Kiriachi, they need consistent games. The reason they're inside the top 10 right now is they're really good on placement. Just like all these teams you see on your screen. They're lacking eliminations. Janice and Chapix doing their classic, what we saw yesterday. Low ground mountainous rotation. Every time they end up doing this, the zone plays for them. I'm not sure if this is like a type of rain dance, but they get every zone when they're in this position. They look good while doing it, and they end up clutching games.
We already saw who's at height holding it. It is Vidil's trio who've made
bitte, Hen soll einfach nur wegsterben, Hensio, Jannis und
They said on social media, we have a plan.
Ich weiß immer noch nicht, wer Ockway ist.
They were kind of just pushing everything.
Hey, Digga, was soll das, Mann? Scheiß Angel.
But now they're early, and now they have prime position to get beams. So now
hat der Hurensohn keine Hobbys, Alter?
And they're just gonna do it from a distance.
Junge, ich wünsche, man könnte den Namen noch sehen.
And they came through yesterday with a crazy win in the first game as well. 12 total eliminations. Looked really good. Are these guys hot starters though? Because after that, it was just mistake after mistake. They fell down the board, and they're in 16th place now. They used to be first on the day, and they ended at 16th.
if they could just chill out a bit, just don't use the NOS, don't use the the turbo, just kind of just ease off the gas just a little bit, coast, put that bad in close, and maybe they can just get on through. Because when they get to in-game, they're dangerous. We have yet to see them perform in this tournament at in-game.
Ja, Forza.
Jason Forza or Nate, similar type of circumstance. They just need to end up grabbing this game for themselves. I'll watch a lot of people rotating beside them. I'm still feeling a little bit of a survival vibe from this trio. They're not looking to be in a big spot to win the game currently, but at the same time, they have a max zone to rotate. So let's hold off on that for a second. Getting attacked on the right side. There's even other trios rotating later than this. They have to move through a maze. They don't have a
Anti-Leg-Sturm, Digga.
Right here. It's gonna be Wakey and Flo.
Ja, okay, das ganze Trio von Anti-Leg-Sturm einfach.
Fast. MXR Wildlife pulled aside. They're moving too. And right above them,
ganz entspannt.
Endretter.
Oh, nur noch Endretter lebt, Digga. Scheiße, no, mein Pferd. Mein Trio, was ist da los?
I know it just has 7 points right there, but that's just for day 2. The first place team has 1 person left. If Endretta goes down, their team stops getting placement, they might drop out of first. All eyes are on Endretta for this endgame, and there's so many people looking to take him out to try to grab the lead.
Andretta has to go back to the time machine. He finished 24th in the World Cup solos, so he could kind of dip into the past, pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic here, because his job is all about getting placement, as many points as possible.
Ja, ich merke, Digga, du wirst jeden Tag in der Schule gemobbt, Alter, Vollidiot.
Oh no, this is trouble. This is the 3rd time I'm watching this happen. This happens, CS.
Was soll das?
It happens.
Throwing things close range, they're so lethal. Though. Look at Boobox's health just go down.
Oha, Digga, die Grafik war ja gar nicht da.
Used to be at 100. It's going down to 20 as well. It's so hard to run away from those stingfish, but once again, use them in close range.
Greifler, David da oben, Noreli.
This complex of builds has so many top trios, and making sure he medkits up. These guys are going all in on their HP. They're looking to just take this endgame by storm.
Oh yeah, and the Storm has already moved away from all of our competition. The first moving has been revealed and is going back towards Dirty.
Bro, einfach reingehen im Party Royale und dann siehst du das eigentlich schon, dein Vater.
We said that day 2 is their day. Are they going to be able to seize it and
Wie denn sonst? Und man muss, glaube ich, gutes WLAN haben. Ich glaube, so ist es auch. Thomas.
The thing we've seen on EU, especially early, is people like to contest height. They like to interrupt. Thomas, Flick, and Anas. But look how far this split goes. Thomas is back in an old zone a minute away. Anas and Flick are already all the way on the front side, building a new base. So these guys have real estate.
No, ja, Jannis, step, Digga, let's go.
They're going down 2 on the backside of
Tschüss, Jannis,
this is absolutely ruthless. People have to make it up a mountain, go down a mountain. It's tough. The hill's in the way, and Chapis is the last person alive on this squad to make the rotation.
Nur noch Okway
lebt. Is usually the tarper. He could navigate these builds. He could do those.
Ja, keine Ahnung, wieso dann nicht, Bro. Frag mich nicht, Digga. Ich bin nicht Epic Games. Ich hab echt keine Ahnung, Mann.
This is the defending champion here, who had the momentum leaving from day 1, walking away with
the
victory.
Bro, bitte sterb weg.
Now they're in the 2nd threshold placement.
Du bist gefährlich, Savage.
Thomas AC, Anas and Flick here. Putting some pressure down.
Thomas ist auf High, Digga.
Look at the AR. They have all
Thomas Flick und Anas sind auf High.
Pressure down on low ground.
Every player playing scared, but fear gets relieved
oh my God,
as the zone actually bounces back. Everyone on middle and low ground, even the people getting struck by the lightning from
Bad Sniper, Marvin ist da unten noch.
For the moment.
Ja, was ja noch für Trios leben.
Try to break these builds and go for shots. Look how tough it is. Brick builds everywhere. Metal.
Wow.
Vidal, Noah Riley, they're surviving on low. They get to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, even Andretta's alive. The first place team has 1 player. He takes out Sun in mid-ground. Meanwhile, Thomas, Flick, and Anas are looking for anything right now. They only have 2 eliminations, Sancho. I've never seen them this, unaffected on the lobby. This is troublesome for them. They need to
Hast du die ganze Zeit nur geplant, wenn FNCS ist und die ganze Zeit zu prüfen, du kleiner Hurensohn, du Nuttensohn? Ja, hast du das denn? Bro, das regt mich richtig auf, Alter.
Already they're setting up someone with the heals. Thomas AC is holding on to some medkits here, so he is going to be that heal up win condition. Anas and Fletcher have to go down here, but look, Noah Riley and Deal and Reason are there on the low ground,
Houdini
and they're going to clean up the
Varial
and
Reason.
they get Etsy and they get Bad Sniper.
Noah, kill, let's go.
Are here in the end game, and they have the potential to pop up even more, baby.
Let's go.
Scrappy, high ground free. There's so many different types of scenes we're seeing.
Ja, High Ground ist immer noch Thomas. Oh, Flick wurde gegrieft. Flick ist gegrieft worden. Flick ist dead. Noah ist dead. Flick und Noah Reed sind dead.
Thomas HD and Anas have to do this as a duo. They've done it before.
Oh mein Gott, Digga.
So many different players of high calibers down
Reason lebt noch.
With the zone going towards their backyard.
Reason, Marvin, Anders,
be the signature game that I was
Thomas,
talking about in day one.
Und
they already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to let it go away here. Marvin with a phenomenal performance, the best performance they had today.
Now this is where zone starts to get so hard for the low ground trios. It's so tricky. Everything's kind of just getting claustrophobic. The walls are closing in. So it's pushing people next to a big mountain. One last gets taken out. There's no harpoon here. Yes, Anas only has 7 builds, but it might be enough to last just 50 seconds. They have to connect to this build. They're beaming down. It's lasers from the sky, and not even a planet could survive this pressure.
Anas.
Right now, Marvin, he's working around the build. Somehow everyone's escaped. Thomas is going for the beams when Anas finds the first. They're still staying up. It's a patient game. Reason last alive 2v1, and he could still do it. He has all the maps from the eliminated bodies below. We're going over a bridge. It's going to be a stalemate for about 30 seconds. If Anas and Thomas don't drop down, yeah, they're not going to. They're going to stay up, and Reason has some time to breathe.
What does Reason have in his inventory? He has enough builds just to hold out here. Reason, they had the day one victory out, game one, popped off huge, and Reason could clutch it. No! Anas is not so bad! Big elbow jump, but Reason clapped. Reason still getting get the siphon. He does! If he can find Thomas HD, Reason could have
no, Digga.
Oh my goodness! What? What?
Reason hat gewonnen, wie hat das gemacht?
Reason gets the victory!
Ja, ich hab gehofft, ich hoffe Reason und Vidal und Dings gewinnen.
Ja, ich hoffe Savage.
Thomas HD, 1 second off of the med kit all the way on high ground is what I basically see and how it looks like.
Ich hoffe, wir können es jetzt auch sehen.
At the last millisecond of time as well, wins out the game. This man, not even a troll under a bridge, a goat under a bridge, clutches the unclutchable.
Let's go to the desk. Go to the desk.
Soll ich dir Streamlink senden?
What the heck am I watching? This is just the first game.
Nein, brauchst nicht.
Wow, dude. Okay, listen. Reason got put in one of the most difficult situations you can be put in as a trio. You have one member left
Wie sieht das, Alter?
in those final few zones, and that member's thinking, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what? At this point, is it placement? Is it elims? He's like, you know what? Let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
We can't
Marshmallow kommt gleich wieder.
Have tier 1
Ist ja in dieser Lobby oder was?
medkit timings in the end game. We saw Thomas hit the zone, and then as he started to pop the
Und wer ist der YouTuber?
start to move a little bit afterwards. He already messed up to start with. This
Achso, sind die bei ihm drin oder was?
So
lol, hä?
A lot of this actually on NA East,
Hier
and then
vor
messed
mir.
up the
Ach so,
timings.
lol.
We're actually really yet to see that, and that definitely was a bit of a choke, which allowed Reason just absolutely to pop off. And you notice he was live as a solo for a long time as well. Huge props to Reason for clutching that.
Ich will mich selbst
They did win
sehen.
game 1 yesterday.
Das kann eine Einstellung diesen. Keine Ahnung.
This is the story of last season's, champions, because you look at the last 2 teams there. This is the 3rd place team from last season versus the 2nd place team.
Ganz einfach rüber, Digga.
Remember back to last season, Reason had some phenomenal clutches back then as well, and he's back this season with just the clutch teams in his veins. How was he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did is. And, we could be coming back in about 5 games and looking at that as being a defining moment in what turned their tournament around. That victory pushes them up the standings.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Even just being able to say, like, even if you just ended in 2nd place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least hit 2nd. Nope. Let me just 1v2 this other trio. No problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2 of the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots. Reese, at the very beginning of the show, I asked you if anything would be changed up. Did anything get changed up?
Minorly. Look, minor things changed up, but some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? If you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before, this team's been dropping here for a long time, but what's very, very important and very, very critical is the absolute sharpshooter eye that Kiriachi has. Look at this. Look at this. The storm down instantly.
That is insane. Look, we know what he
Was
can
das für ein
do
Aim,
with those
Alter?
rifles in his hands. You know, similar
Ist so, Digga, Kiachi, Mann.
for Stroke, these guys, day one, we talked about how aggressive they were in terms of eliminations, how successful they were at Misty. And to start off with, they were obviously known to be contested at Misty, but they still remained fine.
Digga, wie sich meine Stimme anhört, Alter, voll cringe, Alter.
What's happened yesterday, it doesn't seem like they'll have too many problems there. Similar things could be said for Flickiness and Thomas, however, we just saw there at the end. You know, it's all good about having the dots for uncontested. You can't win the crucial 2v1. What does it all mean? Regardless, though, you take a look at the standings and things.
Egal, das gleiche mit Bacon, Alter.
Considering that Hen's trio and Refscott's trio did sort of go down before those sort of closing moments, but even with that being said, you can see Flickiness and Thomas up there in third place now. Forziar, Tayson, and Nate sitting in fourth. Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky sitting in fifth. You know what's funny, Reese? When I look at this, this is literally almost my top 5 prediction list, except for Hen, Janice, and Chapix. Like, all the teams we predicted to do well are performing right now.
Absolutely, and this has just gone even closer. Apart from the real Hen, Janice, Chapix pulling away a little bit with their eliminations off spawn that they got, that's obviously a good few points. And no, you know, Chapix clutched all the way up till 9th by himself there, so 2 moving zones he managed to make it through, which was really, really big for the team. That's why they've started to kind of take that lead a little bit. Again, Andrea managed to do a similar thing, clutching up all the way to 12th. So great performance from these guys, but again, Kiriachi's team, you know, some of these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned, they're still middling, right? And that's see Bubak up in the end game again.
Nein, ich weiß nicht. Ich kenn gar keinen, Digga.
And then from that big victory royale, now Reason, Vidil, and O'Reilly up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep that steam going.
Oh man, momentum, baby. We have it. We have more games here waiting for us. A lot of these trios are looking to shut down this top 3 because remember, it's top 3 that will auto-qual going into Chapter 2 Season 7. You know what time it is, Fortnite fan. We're getting right back aboard the battle bus. Make way, because Sancho West and Shywager are coming through. They're your casters for the game once again. Let's kick it back their way.
Game number 2 of day number 2, and I'm not even still over that first one, Sancho. If that's how things are going to go today, I am not ready.
I think that's how it's going to go today. It's going to go down to the last moment. We saw last season, it went down to the final game, the final rotations, the final moments. Our top 3 was still up, and this is the defending champions once again, who are essentially getting 6 points out of this engagement. If they could keep up that pace, and Chapix getting that 9th place finish, they have an opportunity to just barely outpace Indretta's trio, who's been going really conservative. If you take a look at after Indretta's victory royale, that trio basically just kind of averaged out the rest of the way. Low E-limbs, decent placement, and if that continues to happen here in day 2, I think we'll see a back-to-back championship.
I'm liking how you mentioned the fact that they're getting, you know, these E-limbs for free, basically. They're the only team to have multiple double-digit. So, you know, a big factor of that is these 3 E-limbs on spawn. They're getting the chance to get every game and have, as you said, what? 6-1 so far right now. Like, they're looking real good off spawn. At the moment, it's a little bit more, you know, conservative approaching this fight. We see Knight, Vortex, and Chris. I think they got in the bunker chest. They have a lot of power off this POI, but Chapix and Janice have a wide split. They had so many, a lot of access to so many chests. Chris on the backside now. He's trying to look to go and engage on this trio, but at the same time, they have so many shields to pop.
Ey, das fuckt so ab, ne?
Ja, wenn du 4 glückliche Schläge hast, dann
it's about that first battle as well. If they go down early, if one person gets picked, I think that's the only way Chris really has a chance here.
Correct, and that has happened, and we've seen clutches between Janice and Chapix able to pick up the pace after him getting knocked.
I'm calling it already, though. Just looking at the state of Vortex's shields, it's too late. If Elam's needed to happen, it needed to happen now. Is Chapix actually going for this? I mean, he's feeling himself. The bow and arrow close range, but not going to be able to hit that type of shot. Chris and Vortex are just desperate right now over these builds. They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapix's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment into making this big bridge, underground base, and goes back into another house. Chapix follows Vortex. No idea where he is. They're refarming again.
The big thing that Chris's trio is holding on to is they did have a top 10 finish with about 7 or 8 E-limbs, so they understand that if they're able to walk away, they'll be able to have a big game themselves.
And look at the trick that Janice and Chapix have done at this POI. They basically forced And Vortex Knight and High Chris to go over to this left side. They used to have so much control. Janus staying back a little bit now has a chance for a big flank to actually corner these guys. They have complete control of the POI. Janus is going up, fighting 2 people by himself. It's Knight and Vortex. Chapix has to peek from down below. 5 builds left on Janus as well. He's going to try to run away, farm what he can as he moves inside of building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's going to play sneaky like while he attracts all the attention. This makes room for Chapix and Hen on the other side.
Nein, ich hab kurz jetzt
This is a
rausgezogen.
back and forth, and it looks like they have the reads on High Chris's trio.
It really doesn't matter what weapons are in the inventory here in this engagement. We've seen a gray makeshift shotgun get the job done. So you see that green makeshift normally in anyone else's hands, you'd be like worried, but look at it. It's going to be fine. They're setting up. Shai, break this down for us.
Yeah, right now, too, it's not only a war of HP and loadouts, it's a war of resources. While Janus, I believe, was on the backside and used all his mats as a solo, when High Chris, Vortex, and Knight wanted to respond to him, all 3 of them had to use their mats to catch up. So they basically, look how many ramps are invested over here from all 3 players. They're losing this war on resources.
Benny, was machst du da, Alter?
Has basically used his mats right here. Chapix and Hen have been just farming up the whole time. We'll see how that goes. It looks like Cerebrally is going to be Janus's team that's winning right now. At Steamy Stacks, Andretta, Savage, Refsguard, they had their early game fight. Slender got taken out immediately from what I saw over there. It'll be free for those guys to keep moving on. Right now, it just looks like Knight is confused. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janus was out of builds. Now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources. Just keep watching them. They have so many to farm down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down to farm. As soon as they drop the farm, Janus will hear that. They'll go back up. Their position is so strong.
Was versuchst du,
This is a
Alter?
great defensive stance. In the previous engagements, when I looked at the VOD, they have the potential to flank. Hen really went all the way towards Pristine Point almost. It felt
geil
like
aus im
he
Stream.
went that way, looped back around and got
Ja,
some
aber
big wins in
die
the
Sache
back.
ist halt, also im Stream, meine Stimme ist voll scheiße, Digga. Ist generell meine Stimme so, auch in Fortnite und so.
Ja, ja.
Verklüncht, Digga.
Schau mal, was ich mache, Digga.
But momentum is going to be the big factor going forward.
Yeah, and why is this happening? Why is it different from before? You know, the last game we saw Janus and Chapix go for an immediate fight, and it was scrappy. It's because of the psychology around it. Look at the zone on the left. They have zone at Craggy. They can really draw this out, and they've baited Hikers all day into this fight. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they basically are living in their heads rent-free, Janus at least, and they're going to go for this fight no matter what to try to win it. They're down 6-1 as well. Because of this is free surge tags for Janus. This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janus are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen it
Ich schwöre, okay, das reicht, ja, Wallah, das reicht.
Hen's trio went to Flopper Island to disengage, to regain a little bit of resources, to regain a little bit HP, and then they came back and wiped out Knight. The thing that's going to be different here is that Tripper's trio that usually rotates in that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams, and we saw Chapix get beamed from that area here, and that could be just enough for High Chris's trio to find that opening to get rid of Hen's trio.
Now, what Sancho's calling for is basically the third party of a different team on this left hill that comes in, and Uruguay 74, that's Chapix, by the way, was on high ground. He was in the position of this opposite team, Vortex, the night before. He got beamed hard. I think these guys have learned from that. They're now playing low. There's no chance that third party team can actually shoot them. So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can't. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Lazy Leg always active, especially with Bad Sniper Marvin and SC. They've actually moved towards the center of the map off the POI, chasing a fight. Bad Sniper with the big shots on the Dementos. They're still going forward. This one's getting real scrappy too. I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything back on day 2.
Not at all, and Marvin's trio had their best finish in game 1 of this day here, which is 7 out of the 12. But this is just a messy rotation. This southern rotation, I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the South right here that's happened real. Every time we've already seen it in game 7, now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already seen Pizza, who's just able to be a little bit better because he's able to rotate, but now Pizza is actually late rotating here, as you see Fast Rookie Art and Pizza on the backside of this engagement down in Gorgeous.
Bro, du bekommst gerade so viel
I've never seen
Watchtime
people
von uns.
voluntarily go down to the gorge, let alone 3 teams to fight, so there's definitely something weird going on for their game strategies.
Yes. I mean, you know, what ends up happening in the EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long-range storm surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces. The more confidence is happening, it's like, we could beat these guys. I could hear Levin saying it in my voice. We could beat these guys, and we could take it to them. And that's what I think what it is. More importantly, I said it in the previous game, Shayo, it comes down to the elimination points being 2 points. You get that value out of that. We've already been seeing the 6 points that's been helping out Hen's trio kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Revsguard's trio. Wow, this is a stalemate. It's
that Gorge is looking anything but gorgeous right now with all those teams in there and all the builds. While that happens,
Gorge.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, they've almost even taken height over Percival. Actually, a misstep. Percival goes down, Tayson misses a ramp, and now he has high ground. That was too easy. And now he's on the chase down. Percival shaking in his boots, getting absolutely beast controlled. This is about to drop him in the box too. He's missing edits. What's going on here? All the way around, he has an infantry rifle. That's not good close range. Has to throw over the pump and land a big shot, but it's only green. He's gonna escape all the way and make sure he finds his way back to his team. Bloom took big shots. Percival actually down. You're trying to go toe-to-toe with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. I get it. Bloom, Percival, Tomzy, they're also really good at these fights, but this is, you know, outclassed matchup right now. These guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind and try to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their pickaxes, and they get in basically unscathed. Tayson will be able to met up. Everything will look fine. What a fight. Masterclass of a mid-game fight there from 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down on the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further. We've been seeing Bloomy and Tayson's trio all tournament long, been competing for Central Zone and colliding. And right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a 3rd FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habits. And now the changes, you're seeing the changes. They're actually boxed up looking for Storm Surge tags at distance. They're not moving. They're not in the car. They're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess one of those like little spiders that chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
They're trying to switch things up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right, not gonna get beamed out of the air this time. He's looking good with peppers, but not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire low ground too. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The big Elam comes in, the siphon finish, and now he's looking for more. Gonna pick up Shadow all the way up top, get that clutch. Revive, very nice. This is also just a very, very messy fight.
Very messy. The fire actually knocked their teammate. That's what happens when everything gets set ablaze. Wakey's going to go ahead and bring back Eyedrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers. And you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. That is part of their game plan. They got a victory out by playing for height when the zone went down towards Hollyhedge's Meadows, and they're blowing Storm Surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
Dangerous for Joe. This man is a walking llama right now. If he gets taken out, like, golden tactical shotgun, you're talking about the bigs. He has so many. He has 3 still after using one. Like, you do not want to go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they want to get down into that. They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways. They're trying to slow down that temptation to get in there.
Stuff on both ends. People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every time a team went third party into a fight, didn't really come out with much and sometimes lost a teammate. So they're letting everyone just isolate and do their own thing. Like us, they're watching along and having a good time. Hope you guys are too. Endun is here now with Jaku as well. Crazy solo performances from Endun all across the season, and now he's looking to get into this fight close and personal as well. Some teams are still on that classic game plan of invade boxes, look for these aggressive tags, and most of them are also lower on the leaderboard. You were talking about it, Sancho. Elims are a dope way to make up, you know, some of the mistakes from yesterday, but at the same time, going for Elims, even in this spot, is so risky.
Now we're taking a look at the rest of the board here as a Squeeze is being pressured by Kirachi here, and look, this crazy. They're nowhere to be found. They've been not having this tournament run that we've all expected them this entire season. Has been just a more like a hide, or was it a Jekyll, you know, situation for them. They're just not the same French trio that we saw last season and the previous season before that, and two, Skirachi, they have an opportunity to close out that chapter here and lobby that trio. I'm just flabbergasted, sir. Flabbergasted.
Red Rush Exteriors Mappy coming through the first game, not that consistent, just 2 points in total on the day. They got to look to actually just, you know, make things up. When these center zones, I feel like that's where they struggle the most. It's so hard to stay invisible, be passive, go for beams. They're fighting Flois on the same box right now, but not going to really find much. He's going to build all the way up towards Kaiser, down a teammate. Meanwhile, now this entire server is just devolving into box fights left and right. Even your former first place trio is fighting your current first place trio. Henjen is Capex, and 2 of them are down. These guys are leading the leaderboard over the cumulative 2 days. And their chances of getting points this game are running out. Flames ablaze around Capex, and he's taking ticks over and over, down to 16 HP. There's nowhere for him to hide. Shots on all sides. Every single bullet you see go by is trouble for him. His builds are still burning. Capex, be careful. Flick's on the other side, low HP too. He's walking through flames. Not even affected. What is this?
Ey, das ist so langweilig, wenn man das hier nicht sehen kann,
I
ne?
don't think he's gonna have a 9th place finish. No way. Not this game, considering that you have Indretta here that's trying to take that first place spot. You have Lanoof as well. This is the team that kind of lands at risky reels. And look at that. Storm starts going down, and Thomas HD gets taken out. And Nas is left by himself.
Das ist komisch, Digga. Okay, geh weg.
And Lanoof is just trying to back up his teammate here, and Anas is in a big shamble situation here. Storm Surge still ticking through, and Savage is gonna look to clean that up.
Was machst du,
Takes
Digga?
it up and cleans it up. Now he's gonna push forward towards Capex, and maybe Storm Surge is turned off. Maybe Capex could breathe just a moment. Yes, he could breathe for a moment.
Yeah, Nas Thomas and Flick, they were the last team that had basically, you know, no search tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second, and Nas could still not find any damage and goes down as the last player for the threshold. The Loof 6 and Orion is not going to be here, looking to also go across. And Dreda is just shooting them with stink bows. No, that's actually another trio from the left side. Lanoof's having so much trouble moving in. Savage tries to relieve a little bit of pressure off from him because they're getting shot too. This is so tricky, and Zone is still moving.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the stink bow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the Storm Surge. They would get like a couple of spaces in and turn and just rain down stink bows. He was basically crop dusting the entire lobby, man. He was just thinking he was getting a lot of 5 HP tags all over the place.
It's quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really, really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage basing up with Indretta and Refsguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened last game, but Refs and Savage were basically taken out. Indretta had to clutch. Capex is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down, might even have the reboot cards. So it's gonna be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Refsguard, and Indretta, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Capex taken out by the Storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Refsguard and Dreda and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick, Anas, and Thomas HC we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at Zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for Game 8.
Game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game. But Indretta, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop. In terms of end game, this is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulix this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and 4ZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting them within striking distance of a championship. Nate, 4ZR last season.
Die geht's nicht gut, ne? Man sieht das.
We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate
Das
and let
guckt sich so
everybody
komisch an,
know that they
Alter.
still got it.
Das ist ein ganz
Definitely the
Digga.
most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base. Gonna be praying and hoping that it moves their way, but we'll have chances to move no matter what happens. Wakey down below.
Mein hört sich genauso eklig an, Alter.
Boxes, lower ground.
Kann man das nicht irgendwie so... Hey, ist es auch bei mir wirklich ein Headset bei dir so? Also hörst du mich auch genauso? Also genauso?
These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Stacey brought back his teammates. Stacey brought back that team. And wasn't he all by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, it was a solo. I guess everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Okay, they're not
big reboot came through, but no matter, they were coming from the south side. They must be
Exactly
where O'Reilly is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross.
Nein, ich mein Ding. Es ist das gleiche wie ich jetzt rede halt.
Ja.
Hört sich das genau so an. Voll eklig, Alter.
This is where patience is tested. Safik in Siberia.
Kann man das nicht irgendwie so einstellen, dass man sich besser hören kann und so halt?
Vielleicht Mikrofonpegel leiser machen oder irgend sowas, keine Ahnung. Oder kauf dir einfach einen PC und mach Stimmbezerrer.
Oder ich spiele auf PC, ja?
Ja, kauf dir PC und mach Stimmbezerrer.
Just to paint a picture, last season Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out of here. If Safik and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the deal have
Ich dachte erstmal, ich höre mich anders halt. Nicht so wie beim sein Stream halt so eklig, aber dachte so halt ein bisschen vernünftiger, weißt du? Aber wenn es genau so anhört, dann ist es vielleicht behindert, Alter.
Right now on the cumulative leaderboard, they're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way: Trulek, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they'll try to do it once again, but they have an entire Titan to take down. It's not free for them. They have to get through Noah, Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this? Trulix does have a pepper here. Are they going to go ahead there, look for the chop?
Machst du nur Livestreams oder machst du auch so Videos?
In a phenomenal way by Vidil's trio themselves. In game 1, they chopped them out and they were able to take height and the victory royale. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, Shio.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bolt from Trulek. There's so many teams moving over. This is huge for Trulek if he goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Squeezy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulek. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory. Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day 1. Can they actually end up finishing the game, though?
They need the resources to hold on. Day 1, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept losing it here around zone 7. So they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andelix and Stacey, but they already lost a trio mate. So I don't know if they're going to take it here. So that focus has to be down on the low ground. Savage and Dreda, Revsguard, they have an opportunity to get the victory out. The question is, they're down the soft match. So if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 victory out again.
Whoa, what a risky rotate. They go all the way in. No builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shots from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body. Fully eliminated. The master back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps. Can't do anything. Can't defend himself. Shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Revsguard finds him. They're both going to be together. Revsguard must have the builds. They're in old mats. It's looking good. Payson down in the feed. Savage, Revsguard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
The materials are running low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is in second place. 4ZR and Tayson in fourth place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height, pushes them down to the low ground. And it's a very dangerous layer to be on. 4ZR with 3 eliminations, 12 HP. Not Mr. Savage stops that trio right in their tracks. 4ZR on the track for redemption here. Is barely alive. He's gonna have to go to the medkit play and hopefully catch someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. 4ZR keeps the alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy though on height. They're still alive and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. It's somewhat of a bounce back zone, so they don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking good too. 5 so far. Floki though is still on low ground. A very dangerous trio to go head to head with in the end game. Hadi alive, sniped down by the Noof. So many different teams down below that are so good at these high pressure situations. Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky have a big task ahead of them, and another misthink that might cost them a lot in the end game.
This is where it gets sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulex has 2 floppers, 2 med kits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement Deceptos are still there. Waze is already going in for the med kit. He's coming in for the backside storm. Waze gets Kiriachi. And that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement, they don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from the mistakes yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trulex, Queasy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex has the insurance. He has to go below. I think he might be the last one left here. One more flopper. And these guys are still in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They win it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs to see like, yeah, man, we had hype this many times. And we just clean up a couple of things. We just hold on. We get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground. We could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shayo.
Yeah, but 4ZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. It's uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we missed.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look high ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's gonna be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the Cavs kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc. Right? Yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're gonna show.
Ja, da komme ich mit 7 Ping, Alter.
That storyline is so true for
jetzt habe ich 3, 1,
Sonst habe ich 21. Winning that first game and then it looks like it's going to be their game 2's game. Taking height so early in that
Es liegt nicht am Ping, Digga. Du kannst auch 100er Ping haben und kannst da zuschauen. Nur mit mehr Delay. Das liegt irgendwie an den Einstellungen. Ich weiß nicht genau an was, aber
I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on height ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like,
Benny verlässt erstmal, genau.
It was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory routes a lot of the time, and that was the real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trulex historically throughout multiple Fortnite.
Junge, ich hab sogar das Scheißspiel neu gestartet, Alter. Ich kann's trotzdem nicht sehen, Mann.
You saw Jerky when they were taking out, he took the Germans down right, no rightly, they wiped them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Fortnite's taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to one, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground, setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things you want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HP's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit's inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit.
Ey, der ist so dumm, nur anstatt hier seinen Skin zu ändern, ändert er in der Lobby seinen Skin.
This is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice, again, after harvesting that, two builds. Two builds remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down because he has absolutely zero here. So he uses those two builds right here. And notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful because he has a right-hand peek on Anas who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look,
aber ich war schon früh genug drin, als es angefangen ist. Sogar bevor es angefangen ist, war ich schon drin.
With not enough time, and unfortunately, he ends up being eliminated. But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Yeah, Savage is just a little bit.
Current should finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Dre and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulix, and Juriki shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, you know, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions.
And it's looking like it could be not only them in the running though, because Rescard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. 4ZR tasting Nate too. Look at the difference between first all the way down to third, and we can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games.
Nur ich hab den, siehst du, nur ich hab den.
Er ist Erster, steht doch da, hä? Was für eine Frage, Mann.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel
steht da seit 10 Minuten, wer Erster ist.
Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy and this trio, you don't understand why people are just allowing them to be up there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're gonna close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now, and it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out.
Wo kann man schauen, Party
okay,
Royale?
I know, Zeke, I know, it's game time. We're jumping back into the action.
Aber
this is game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of this series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's
klar
all
ist
about
Bildschirmaufnahme
the
scharf.
John. It looks like Trulix, Queasy, Jerky.
Ich hab grad nochmal zurückgespult
und hab geguckt, on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments, but so far, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are flipping that table, put it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had high all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales, and they most likely decided, you know, we just gotta cheer up the defense with the backside being protected, because that's all the time they've been happy is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds, and that's what's so fantastic about this meta is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing
was ist ein Opfer, Digga. Kannst bei mir losern und dann heult der, ne?
The later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping
was ein Opfer, Digga.
Blaster is still continuing there. Is who is going to change up their kind of strategy, and when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here. Revscar getting knocked in mid-air. This is where it gets dangerous because, as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in Season 4 when Mongrel's trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in Season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elocrass and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indreda's trio.
They're hunting for Rescard too. I don't think Andretta's gonna be able to go back.
He's
hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hotties Trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far refs can actually crawl.
Ach, Queen. Junge, was ist das für ein Name, Digga? Oh, ich lasse euch alleine, Digga.
Teammates as well. So I would say sad to watch because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's fighting it out. Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side, but
ja, aber das ist komplett falsch geschrieben.
Might be a two-man operation for this trio, although
ja, wahrscheinlich ist das richtig geschrieben.
It's always just clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games yesterday. We had Andretta in that last game survive as this trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end. And
was machst du so nach dem Dings?
They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Sayo, is patience.
Yeah, so.
Patience is showing what patience could work out to. Being consistent, just trying to work their way in. Net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we are up to see Will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom side of your screen.
Ich wohne in Nordrhein-Westfalen.
Hold on, it's gonna be tested. Every time they see a box fight, every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that is going to be like, do we box dive in? Do we go back?
Keinen österreichischen
You know what they say? It says it takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your new habit for the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio,
ja, ich kenne keinen österreichischen Streamer oder.
Looks like Ken Janice Chapix actually end up going down.
Du meinst ja generell, wenn du Random Teams spielst, dass du keinen Österreicher triffst oder so, ne? Ja, okay. Österreich haben aufgegeben, mit Fortnite zu spielen.
Ja.
Aber es gibt auch viele Österreicher.
Used to be up top from your first. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex
Streamer
I don't see high just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are gonna be here surviving for this game. Inhibiting Chapix and Janice for getting any points.
The mental
Herr Aqua ist so klein, hat doch nur 2 Millionen Follower auf Twitch.
Yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into the deal. The deal had a vendetta. Last season,
die Sonne, Digga, was? Ja, das nix.
Nein, der Typ auf der Seite.
Achso, das meinst du.
Box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation. And that's where it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here in day 2. And already, we are already seeing, like, all the Savage fans are High Chris fans right now, right? All the Hin fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all hoping that the other can, like, drop spot fights, go the opposite way.
Bro, bist du lost?
This is the FNCS.
Der Typ lebt in 2008.
Junge! Buga spielt auch nicht mal auf den Europa-Server, der spielt auf Nordamerika. Junge, Mann.
Klar, Digga, der ist bei 2018 hängen geblieben.
Ja, 19.
Ja.
Not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's gonna be trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's worth them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan, and it's working. For trios like High Chris, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast, but it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormingtons, they're there, right? They're there. Yeah. You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day 1. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it though and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. Und Nas ist bei himself.
Bro, also du und dieser Nos sind gute Freunde, ja?
Hey, warum, Digga? Du läufst mir nach.
Ja, und geh mal kurz weg, ja. Geh mal kurz weg. Was laberst du? Du verfolgst die, Alter.
It's so interesting though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to coast. I thought they would go back to more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio.
Schau, sie läuft wieder nach.
You know, taking out those legions of players. I don't know who is this team? Like, I want to know who is this team.
I'll tell you what I was talking about emotions before, right? These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out.
By the way, erster Link in der Beschreibung ist mein Discord, da könnt ihr auch gerne aufschreiben
beirren. Now today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get points, you're happy. They're just riding those emotions, and now the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like their second week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit.
Jetzt auf einmal, ne?
I'll stick with this new lifestyle, and at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat, and right now they're just holding on, you know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient.
Ich sehe halt leider nichts mehr, das ist das Problem.
When they get mean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
Ja, ich sehe ja nichts.
Also ich finde das komplett geil, Digga. Also die blauen LEDs rundherum.
Patience sometimes comes at an offbeat, like a sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive.
Ja, ja. Unsichtbares Bildschirm, Digga. Jeder guckt das an, zu wild, Digga. Aber zu wild.
Wieder schwarze Loch, ob etwas passiert.
Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place. Rolling into, they're looking really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know, they're very consistent at just making games. 2/3 back-to-back from Nebs, Bubak, and Waze rolling through actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this year. 4-0 Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. You know, lots of doubts in the preseason, lots of doubts while we were watching them from qualifiers to heats. They fixed everything. And once again, they're surviving. I have their win condition just kind of written down, as we talked about it last game a little bit as well, Sancho, for the tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot. We said Savage. We're talking about Hen. It feels like, once again, 4-0, Tayson, and Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to be that way. They need to make
ich kann ja nicht sehen. Ist unsichtbar.
They can do it.
Ja, wenn du kurz guckst, ich kann nicht sehen.
In the heat stage, it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios. Not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day, slowly slipping out of the top 3 right now, coming in 8th, Shio. It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andreas, the Savage, and Rescard now back in full force. They were able to get the reboot card and bring them back their trio mates. So that's looking good. It's slowing down though. So they may not have strong weapons, or they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive. Mariah is now sitting in the sting post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those stink bows just to open up a little bit. That's gonna give the signal for Refsguard and Jordan Savage to rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
These guys have to have extra health or something. They survive so many crazy situations. Going down off spawn. They have to travel to the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of week. But what does this mean for Refsguard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game.
Ich hab schon eine Freundin, ja.
Right? Them alive.
Das ist ein Junge.
This means Squeezy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough time, you know, taking hold of this game. They're off screen right now to the
andere, der noch eine Lobby ist, sieht
they're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for 4-0 Nate and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside, and Alex's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. The stakes are still being thrown in.
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and is getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe it was Stompy. They had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG.
Brauchst nicht weinen, Digga.
Trios here, Queasy playing with Rasco and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a three-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty, and then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snaze's trio, they're gonna want this fight because they're low on Storm Surge. If you come from Camp Cod, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
I'm still finding a way in these bases with two teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags.
Roskin, ich hab kein Problem mit dir, geh weg, Alter.
Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme
Mein
song.
Problem ist
It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy
Nein, mach nicht, Wallah, mach
down
nicht.
below at Camp Con. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast
Komm,
Roki
lass mal
on screen.
tauschen, Digga,
They just
ich
make
mach
things
ihn
crazy.
nicht.
It's basically that's a third party,
Ey.
right? That is what
Und
it
ich
is.
sage,
That's a
soll,
third party.
Dings,
So
mich
that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place.
Ey,
And Lazy Lake is where they like to push
lass ihn die Mods machen, ja, du bist den, der wird sich aufstellen, Alter.
So, keine Ahnung, ich habe...
Aber die werden eh wieder, ach, der soll reinkommen, Digga, nur die nicht haben. Ich find's zwar alle geil, aber ich hab zwei Favoriten davon, Digga.
Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4. There was 3
so.
different height retakes and they lost it. And Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfies is getting eliminated. Elo Crash is getting eliminated in the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio Nut just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Now Fast Roki down, the third party trio not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake, but what it looks like right now,
der wird jetzt gegen mich verlieren, guck mal.
this is going to
Guck
be a
jetzt, guck.
very crucial pump
Gegen mich
shot
wird er verlieren.
Nein, Digga, hör auf.
Mehr, doch, mehr.
Ja, dann nehmen wir uns nicht selbst.
Komm doch her. Hallo, hau mich ab, Junge.
Happy overstepped the trio
Mach.
clutched out this zone yesterday. It's going to be one man down. Mappy is also most consistent in terms of surviving and being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is tough on day number 2 for
That was a big refresher in elimination right there for
warte, lass mich Zeit, ja? Ah, hier.
His loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question mark for Red Rush. If you're going to play center, you're going to have to hit your tag. You're going to have to find people in your rotations. Because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door like that build.
Gesehen.
This is actually tough, I feel like, for Savage and Jenner and Ref Squad. They like
Salut,
wide open low ground that doesn't really switch layers. Their lifeline for this entire tournament and their playstyle is low ground. If they don't have a consistent low ground type of terrain to play, they're going to be in trouble for games. Lazy, I feel like it's kind of like
Nein,
the
das
builds,
nicht
the
das.
buildings, and the
Das
fact that they
andere.
go to the
Salut.
mountains and the river. They might be looking to play a little bit more mid.
Und das, was du gerade eben gemacht hast, was Season 2 Drop war.
Ja, ich weiß.
And they know
Popcorn
they're,
hat er auch,
man
ja.
advantage 3 versus 2,
Warte,
but
ich kann
no.
schauen, welche
They're
Season
gonna sit
der
up, they're gonna build up.
rauskam.
They know that low ground might be
Ja,
a
hier
little bit
kam
tough.
Season
Actually,
4.
still trying to hunt down.
Das ist Season 3 Drop, hä?
Not gonna find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're gonna have to switch up their
Boah, ich kenn mich gar
playstyle.
nicht mehr
They're
aus,
gonna
Digga,
be
mit Kingdom
aliens
Modes
in
gar
terms
nicht.
of how they're playing.
Tja, ich hab mehr Ahnung als du, ne?
Ja, Bro,
They're gonna
Kingdom
be
Modes, Digga,
in
Play.
situations, not bad players in other spots, and there it is.
Guck,
The
Season
Red
2
Rush
Spielst
elimination
du.
comes in.
Ah, er kann
We're gonna
reden.
have so many more materials
Da
to
kann er
work
reden.
with. Once again, though, it will be a
Nur
very
kurz kann er
different
reden.
game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where Zone 4 goes. Zone 4 is really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural buildings, the ones that are set here, and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and Forziar, who's made their way in from sweaty stands here on a very dead side rotation, considering that Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Andrea's trio has some work to do. There's a couple trios along their way, but Tayson's, Forziar, and Nate don't have to do any work. But Shayo, look at how much of the aquatic lake is eating up Zone 4, and we already seen when it comes to the FNCS some wow. I cannot wait where this in-game goes. I mean, I'm trying to think what happened last season. There was Staten Island's reference that I remember. There was so
it was too crazy.
It was
too crazy last season. And for Forziar, it's true. It already looks like they have water in their lungs before they dive into the lake. They're down on HP. They're looking bad. Pretty much like Waze right now on HP too. That's
Ja, keine Ahnung wo, Digga.
not a flop or a med kit. It's fine. But yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone. Sancho is absolutely correct. Once you're here,
Bruder, ich hätte mir Season 3 alle Mittelpässe so geholt und
every
Season
single
2 und so.
opening there's gonna be even more eyes looking at you. There's no buildings, no terrain in the way.
Ja, scheiß Account, aber egal.
Queasy's trio, known to take height. If they could take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk
away with the victory Alter, was soll ich machen? Ein paar Bettpässe halt.
Right now, people trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Andretta and Restaurant for that to happen. No O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, both sniped again.
Was macht er nicht?
Play defense and make sure all three are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Look at it, the waterfalls on the right. They're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box B, but they'll find a way. Bad sniper on the receiving end. They're gonna be really cornered down here. Esti, this is their home turf. Sancho, they were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by no O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the
aber das Level 100, Digga,
was
wir wirklich rausgehen. Das ist ein
Fake-Rausgehen.
Wahrscheinlich ein neuer Anfänger bis Level 100, ne?
Ja, ja,
So
Bumblebee-Bubba, Digga.
Nebs, Bubak, and Waze have been doing a fantastic time of being in the middle of the packet in-game, just getting there, but barely won the ball, and so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're on the rope, Shio, and they have layer.
Still have a chance to punch back and
fight. Waze
looking for any shots left and right. Neb's actually going down on the backside. Bubak will have to try to make amends for it, but Zone's coming in, so they actually can't even get to the hook or the body. Waze looking on the right side. Wolfie's looking down bad on the build. Switches the wood, back to metal. Wolfie's trying to go for it, and Andretta might have been knocked. Queasy also down to the Zyku. Everything.
Man merkt auch, dass die Typen deswegen den Namen.
It's not even rotating yet. It's not even closing in half and half. And did these guys even reload? What is the max size for Waze and Bubak? The shots are not stopping. Slender down. Wolfie's low HP. They picked up another jam sites here now. The edge of the zone is just catastrophic for any team down below. Waze and Bubak are not holding anything back.
All the teams that were on that struggle southern rotation are now breathing sigh of relief, and Reason O'Reilly
ist fast keiner mehr drin in dieser Lobby, ne?
And show that Bluebee's now being taken over. That is a huge play, and Noah O'Reilly and Reason are back up into the sky, and they are soaring. They may be soaring to the top of the leaderboard here after this match. That was a big, just an alpha ramp right out to and Bluebee's Trail. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah, Reason, and the deal going right
Bruder, Fortnite, wenn du schon was zeigen willst, dann zeig's vernünftig, Digga. Was ist das, Digga? Unsichtbares Bild zum Gesehen oder was?
They have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally God reps. There's multiple games. They were Sulex who God read them yesterday. They're on height. They're getting both sniped or something. This time, Reason no O'Reilly. I think they understood height wasn't being that active. You know, a little bit new to looking at how to actually play it. And boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 on Nate and Taysom though. Once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. They're the only trio all the way on the backside too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to clutch it up. 6 HP. It looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zones haven't even started. Every team is shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace. He'll survive for a bit, but he's on borrowed time.
Einfach das Ganze mehr anschauen, Digga.
Houdini to survive that max pull.
Die Berge
He's got to
sind...
go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Refsguard, Andretta, and Savage. Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there, so that run is over. The Magician could not get out of that trap. Now, Refsguard, Andretta, Savage, just focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough healers just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy, to stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah Riley and the Deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to.
Yo,
O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason have a huge truck they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get stuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. Forziar gone and Hen is gone. That's third and fourth place. There's a lot of room to move up.
Second place.
Jerky can't. Second place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Hype is just punishing everyone. Trulex.
Oh, Trulex kann echt noch wichtige Punkte jetzt rausholen. Die sind schon relativ weit oben jetzt. Also Trulex könnte echt noch Top 10, also Top 10 am Ende für Trulex, Squeeze und Jerky, das ist schon nice, aber die können auch noch Top 8 Season machen. Nur Reli, Houdini, Kiachi, oder?
And looking healthy. That's exactly where the position that there would be. Every time they find success in game, they're right then and there. And look at it. All the pressure's going down right now from Noah Riley and Vidil and Reason here. Trulex is on the backside. Trulex has to hold on. Trulex is in second place without any kind of HP to med back up to full health here. But now all eyes on this new form trio. It feels like they're just changed their ways, being
Savage, der dritte Restgott leben noch, das ist sehr gut für mich.
And Reason now on high, Savage and Dread and Revsguard working through those buildings like you pointed out here, just giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more placement points, and now we're in the top 10.
Einfach nur die 300.000
mit. Tricky cars in the way, buildings you can't really break through in time either. No builds. Savage, no builds, nothing to really reform in terms of trees.
Die haben echt keine Builds.
A little bit of mats. Minis also dropped
Die
down.
haben einfach keine Builds.
No. Savage, Reason, O'Reilly, Vidil at the very end, but they still have to survive.
Gerade so durchkämpfen. Dread hat gerade so ein Bild.
Actually going down from
Nee, hat noch nicht mal ein Bild.
Squeezed right now. Savage are waiting and boom! This is big shots coming through. Shadow, Joe, and Stompy kind of stuck on the left corner.
Yeah, Savage is dead. No way.
And he goes down. It's up to Andretta and Revsguard to carry that torch.
Gemset hat sich tatsächlich
Meanwhile, Savage taking that stormer right from the backside. Low ground is a maze, a labyrinth, and you can't just hug the right wall. There's no solution.
Reason A ist ganz oben. Noah, oh mein Gott, Digga, Vadia lebt auch noch. Und ja,
going down. They still have mass to survive.
Das sieht sehr danach aus, dass Noah Reli, Vadia und Reason A schaffen werden diese Runde. Wir haben auch schon 107 Punkte heute. Holy shit, ist das viel. Kiachi, weg mit dir.
Here we go. This is it right here, Shayo. It's a top 4 situation, and I'm just taking a look, and I believe in holding on.
Nur nicht reinjoken. Einfach nicht reinjoken, Bro.
Reason could get some eliminations and the victory out. They're going to be able to get into
das gar nicht reinjoken, das ist verboten, Bro.
Slow burning game going to max brightness. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason are all still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. Majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big read coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil gets clapped. Reason gets also.
Fury weg mit dir. Shit on.
Fury gets taken down now. No.
Oh, Fallschaden 70, 60 HP. 60 HP, das kann er gar nicht schaffen. Das kann er gar nicht schaffen, Digga. Gegen ganzes Trio. Hä, wie will er es schaffen?
In just a sec, the zone's actually pulling up towards the hill. Noah Riley in advantage, but he's getting prepped to dive below. Taking a big breath of big shields before he hits that water. He goes straight down. No, not yet.
Achso, Dread lebt auch noch.
Siphon comes through. Yes.
No way, Digga. Reason A. Nein. Aber Savage Team hat wieder bis zum Ende gelebt. Zweiter. Let's go.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total?
Das war auch die dritte Runde.
Was that and the victory royale? I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're going to the moon.
No, they're going to a different galaxy. They're going to a different. We don't know where they're going, man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, real man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Vidil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe, Reese and Levin. I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action, constant blows going back and forth. I don't know if my little baby heart can take it.
By the way, danke für die 2 Abos in diesem Stream, mega Ehre.
Like, this was incredible,
Kuss geht raus an euch und 12
Likes,
für
record-breaking actually for FNCS Finals overall, 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. We called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off with a 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Look, last season, they looked like they were going to take the FNCS Championship going into that final game, and things didn't go their way. But now they are back with vengeance. They had the highest point game of yesterday. They have the highest point game of not just today, but ever in an FNCS Finals. Like, this is ridiculous stuff. These guys are going to shoot all the way up the standings. They came into this game in 10th. We'll see where they are when we get to it, but a phenomenal game from these guys.
And it's a very different game, right? When you can dethrone that #1 team going into the game, I mean, without Hen, Janice, and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this, like, pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hen, Janice, and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, people were scared about this team here, High Chris,
Hen und Chapix,
landing on them, and people said if these guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn,
Hi, Chris.
Moments before disaster. Screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in. You see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Chapix eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late. Because you can see High Chris there is able to do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Janice. Janice here, he lands in his building, he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine.
Oh no, he
has a primal shotgun and he gets down to 31 HP. What can Janice do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is like this was the question we all had. Off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just
Chapix is schon dead,
Fortnite, sometimes you land, you don't get a weapon you need, and you will just go down like this. If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back-to-back.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough. You know, we did see them lose a single game yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine. But they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this. And that is, like you said,
und Hen ist damit auch
50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being picked up, and that is the end of it for them. So you can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard, down to 7th. That's where they are right now, so they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game coming up forward. But some of these teams have been popping off.
Savage ist
still holding on.
Redcat ist Erster, Tulex ist Zweiter. Holy shit, Tulex, Digga. Forza Dritter, Nori Vierter, Tums Fünfter, Thomas Sechster, Chapix Siebter, Achter, Istan Neunter, Bubak 10. Red Rush.
Yeah, it was disappointing that they had so many not so great games yesterday. Like after their big victory royale, they really had the other 5 games that just weren't really anything. So today they are playing serious catch up, but already with 3 games left, being 4th, if they keep playing the way that they're playing today, this is going to be an incredible finish.
I just feel like Sancho West, like his prediction is
So, und dann
just kind
geht
of
auch gleich
echoing my
die vierte
mind.
von
Just
6
remember back
Runden los.
before the
Mehr
final
als
started,
die
Sancho was
Hälfte
like,
haben wir
guys, you know
schon.
what? Calling in now, Savage's trio, game 12,
Obwohl,
they're
nee,
gonna clutch
wir
it up
sind
for the
jetzt bei
whole
der
champion.
Hälfte.
No, apparently Sancho was just like, what he meant to say was, they're gonna clutch up every game, at all the times, at all the points in the competition. My goodness, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Fortnite fam, we hope you're enjoying all of the action. That's 3 games down. We only have 3 games to go. Now I know what you're thinking, Zeke. Let's get back aboard the battle bus. You're right. In just a little bit. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition during the break. So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shawwager, Sancho West, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going here from the FNCS in Europe. See you guys in just a second.
Let's go. By the way, in der ersten Link meiner Beschreibung ist mein Discord verlinkt. Könnt ihr gerne aufschreiben. Ihr könnt euch für einen Clan bewerben. Wäre mega Ehre. Kuss an jeden. Natürlich müsst ihr da nicht raufgehen. Ist das in Party Royale? Ja, das ist ein Party Royale, Bro. Jetzt können wir auch ein bisschen warten. Chillig. Noch 4 Minuten. Oh Mann. Warten kann ganz schön nervig sein. Noch 2,5 Minuten. Ach so, und zweiter Link in der Beschreibung ist der YouTube-Channel von meinem Clan. Ja, der YouTube-Channel von meinem Clan. Könnt ihr auch gerne mal abchecken. Och Bro, und jetzt griefen mich wieder welche, oder was? Das ist so ehrenlos einfach, Mann. Ah, scheiß drauf. Das Griefe bringt doch einfach nichts. Noch 30 Sekunden. Sechzehn, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 und go.
Welcome back to the European FNCS Finals. It's day number 2. We're on game number 10 of 12, and our previous FNCS champions on your screen right now. Hen, Janice,
Bro, du kannst selber in ein Party Royale Match gehen. Und dann siehst du das auch. Das kannst du mal als bringt jetzt nicht viel, wenn du bei mir reinkommst oder selber irgendwo reingehst. So. Weißt du?
And more importantly, they've been chilling in their lobbies respectively for about 25 minutes or so. So we all know that game of time to kind of chill out for a little bit, reset, we've been saying countless times, when they get out of Craig Eclipse, they have the potential to win it all with a victory royale and double-digit eliminations. So now we're getting into it. We have 3 games left here of the FNCS EU before we crown either a defending champion or we crown a 3-time champion in Tayson, Nate, and Tayson's going to be that one right there. But
ja, wenn das bei dir aber trotzdem nicht gezeigt wird, wenn du bei mir in die Lobby kommst, wird da genauso wenig was gezeigt. Das ist ein Bug, du musst irgendwas an deinen Account oder so aktivieren in den Einstellungen, dass das geht.
The deal, Noah Riley, Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way up.
Keine Ahnung,
just have to now slow it down just a little bit more. I just don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 16th place as well. They're a very flip-floppy team. Every time they win, Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2
Boah, Digga, die haben so Gottblut, Alter.
Curse breakers today. On day number 1, in the first 6 games, they had so many good positions on height. They ended up getting taken over. It was tough. It was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsguard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-floppy. They have a win, 17th place. It's looking kind of weird. Everyone right now, this game matters so much. They have to be very consistent.
What's on the line is life-changing money. Hundreds and thousands of dollars for every single trio that we saw here are playing with that on their top of their minds. Every moment matters for them. Every build, every call out, every engagement is going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the tip of top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
At 1.3 million total. When it comes to Europe, $300,000 for the trio who's rolling in first place. Squeezy, Chulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but once again, they cannot afford to make any mistakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape
okay, man braucht doch relativ gutes WLAN,
if you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby, but behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earned their spot. They're going against the Andalexes of the world. They're going up against an up-and-comer in Jules right now, getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now, we're talking about movement. The deal, Noah Riley and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that moved them up their leaderboard. And look at their strategy. They've just totally changed. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of, you know, at Rose where we're watching like Unknown, and right, all the question was what will Unknown
Reason
look like
ist nicht
wohl
live
Unknown
und
down there in the what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic box fight anybody. He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in game? What we're seeing right here, a game that they just flip-flop everything, the script. They were getting games right when in the early game. Now they're getting those 10 England games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
Digga, wieder auf einmal. Rumfliegt.
Same middling performances throughout. It's like 11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day.
It's not looking
too good when you look at their team if they don't win games.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like, what will Wolfies look like in in-game? What would CRR look like in game? You know, what are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in in-game? And we're getting a taste of it. And we're just seeing that if you go do your homework, VOD review, they kind of clean it out. You figure out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We're joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the 4th one of the day. So a lot of rotating in the zones coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, ForZR and Lazy Lake, and we just started casting? No, this is all the way in a mid-game rotation, and their tags are looking a little bit low, but this is where they actually end up doing the damage. This is going to be a very good spot, but it's going to be shared alongside Fusion and Nexus down below. They love knocking on your walls, and then up top you have Scram, Putrick. We're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need to come back. Thomas HC, Flick, and Anos have to have that pop-off game. They've been denied 2 times in this FNCS tournament. 2 times their signature pop-off game, holding on height, losing it at the very last moment. We saw the misplay by Thomas HC with the med kick here. Now, Reason, Noah Riley, the deal in trouble right now. Things are going to do. This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day 1, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down for making their movement. This is the 4th place team right now battling. I'm taking a look at the
Noah Riley ist gleich schon dead. Varial, bro.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple knights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on any walls to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides. Siptos on one. Not firing away from the backside all the way up top on a hill 2. Nevis Bubak on waist, as you mentioned, Sancho, not stopping the pressure. No Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They might just drop down to patterns. They won the last game. They might be going out early in this one.
This happened in game 2. Last time they got pinched, they were attacking Hen, and then all of a sudden, Floki's trio pinched them and wounded them, and they went down to a duo. So if they could solve what they did, the mistakes that they did last time, they could be able to keep pushing up their leaderboard. They did that by switching up the layers, staying away from that crazy low ground that's happening right there. But still, we have to keep an eye on them. That's what happened yesterday. All of a sudden, they just getting knocked down to a duo on that transition between early to mid game.
Savage,
now we see
Team,
Thomas, Janice, and Chapman on the same hill. No Riley Vidil right beside them as well. The top 3 from your last FNCS making a similar type rotation. It looks very similar to game 6 of last season as well. So slightly,
das kann noch so spannend werden.
It's kind of central going towards the south.
Noah hat Clement, Wake ist tot. Varial ist tot, Reason ist tot. Varial, Reason sind tot.
Overall in these 12 games last season.
Pinsel, Wakey sind tot. Chapix ist auch tot. Jeder ist tot. Varial ist auch schon wieder tot. Reason auch schon wieder, hä? Noah lebt ja noch.
For Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They go down once again, and it feels like the pattern will be true for this team.
Ach so, die griefen sich gerade.
Reason's
team und Chapix team, die griefen sich.
You can try to see if he survives and plays for a little bit of placement, but they're kind of deep in this game. Reboots are very difficult to kind of take away when you're so close to so many trios. It should be wrap-ups for that squad.
If there's a solo that you want in that trio, is Reason. Reason finished 7th place in Chapter 2, Season 3. So that is going to be interesting to see what Noah Riley can do
Anas,
as
Flick,
a solo. But Anas, Flick, and Thomas HD, who have a great day too, have yet to have that. They're doing okay, but not by their standards. Now you're seeing them defeat Blasters, who just finally survived, save it down there in Weeping Woods, not make it into the middle game right there. But Ryan, Lanouf now have to deal with
Hen und
2 of the Titans of the
Chapix, die
region.
laufen mir einfach durch. Und Hen ist gleich tot. Hen hat 70 HP. Chapix ist dead. Chapix ist gefinisht. Hen hat 80 HP allerhöchstens. Und Anas mit 74 HP gönnt sich halt Midis und Digi. Ja, und ist auch wieder so Full Life.
Clawing at their ankles right now.
Putrick ist, glaube ich, gefinisht von Nate, okay.
Making sure there's no chance that they get any higher. They're going to keep moving forward, and this is going to be such a tricky rotation, Sancho. We've been looking at wide shots of this entire zone. There's so many trios that key angles and locations. There's nowhere to really stop.
Will Hen is dead.
And the
Hen is dead.
goes beyond just
eliminations.
Now that Janice is by himself,
Hen is dead.
solo champion here.
Hen ist gefinisht. Hen ist raus. Nur noch Jannis. Jannis hat Spaß am Game. Jannis hat keine Pilz. Und Jannis ist dead. Oh, Junge. Gut, let's go. Der Typ hat da aber einfach keine Witz mehr. Jannis. Oh, Merchant ist, glaube ich, unten. Das müsste Merchant sein.
are kind of gatekeepers here too. That stink bow, Sancho, you were talking about it. It's rolled.
Silberjacke macht auch mit. Beim FNCS, das wusste ich gar nicht.
Still on his feet, adding valuable points to the board here, especially now that we're seeing the top of the board.
Ganz kurzer Lag, Leute.
In shambles right now at the moment. So Flick, Thomas, and Nas,
lag, bro, lag.
We all know when there's a game on the line and you are the home team, there's just a little bit more pressure considering
Savage
the zone sometimes won't favor you. And I think for the longest time, this is the first time
Savage
we've seen
kann
an
hier vielleicht noch was
FNCS.
Auch wieder. Der war ja mal ganz kurz dead
This time is gonna be Dirty Docks kind of, or at least the mountain where the grotto used to be. Savage and Jenna Rescar trying to take away the life raft that was basically thrown to Anas Thomas HD. And Flick trying to get them out of the top 10. They're saying no. I'm gonna deflate it. There's no way we're letting you sit in this base.
Jetzt habe ich Digga, jetzt habe ich auf einmal wieder einen Einer-Ping oder was, okay.
Yeah, those things really bled through these builds. You can see
Flick, Anders und
still slightly low. Thomas was on at 40. He had to pop a med kit to get all the way back up. They have to make this rotation down too. All that healing lost them a lot of time, and now every single trio is looking at them. But because they
Thomas, Flick und
these guys are moving late, they have a lot of different builds to kind of block the sightlines. They can just reuse them over, save on their mats as well. This is a pretty good angle as long as they don't get shot.
And along their way of this rotation here, very treacherous. You see Savage right there in the distance. We've been seeing Savage just rain down those stink bows, getting those valuable Storm Surge tags that way. Triple, Elocrass right in the distance here. Shakos and Gray close to height, but I'm just guessing. EMXR at height actually with
ganz oben, wer ist auf Hype? Puder sei.
Welcome to the tournament.
Ist das nicht Wandlers?
Trulix as well at height as well.
And if you look over at height for just a second too, that split is absolutely insane. You have, I think, MXR on one of the mountain peaks.
Yes.
Nate ist tot. Von Andilex.
Holy shit. Andilex popping off against Nate in the feed. That's a top 3 team. Getting affected by some people who are way down on the leaderboard as well. Now Trulex undersurged, their entire team found some
ja,
big
Nate
tags.
ist finished.
They're also looking okay for now, but in a desperate situation.
We're seeing what happens here when the FNCS on the line, former teammates could go back and forth here. Of course, Andilex and Nate being the duo's champion. Now they're kind of go into this battle here. Now we're getting closer and closer to the in-game.
Ja, das da oben auf High ist einfach Wandlast. Wandlast hat gestern ultra reingejogt. Oh, Kiachi hat Wolfies, oh mein Gott.
You're gonna have to move up north.
Quizat, Lumadial.
Inside these end games, it's always the top trios that end up suffering.
Void hat 1 AP, Wolfies und Adel sind finished.
Actually have their builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground is a or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in Game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in Game 1 as well. It's so unexpected on what you have to do to survive these big zones. The big height is going to be tricky. We're alongside Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away, and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early. As you already see Queasy's trio already making a stand on height.
Reskat hat 1 AP. Der Druid hat 1 AP. Anders ist dead. Anders wurde verzellenschüttet. Ein dritter, Bruder. No. Please. Bro. Reskat, ein dritter Savage. Oh, der hat Silberjacke mit der Bruder, Digga. Shit-on. Shit-on. Er hat die geschüttet mit der Pune. Halsmaul. Und er hat, glaube ich, auch direkt den Finish gekriegt. Holy shit, Alter.
Down, Anas, one of the clutch gods, not going to be there to see the end of the game. And their builds are on fire. Luckily, it's not bleeding to the floor just yet. It is. And they have to go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates. Oh my goodness.
This is not fine. This is not fine. Now the zone does pull away, but
Trulex und Jerky leben aber noch.
Pushing
right
over
stark.
them, and the one that's riding, surfing the top of that
wave crest und auf Low Ground sind sie stark.
Very committed to this height here, but they have to go back
und auf High Ground sind sie überall stark eigentlich.
Who late rotated through.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of Height here. It might be just one more floor that's connecting, but no.
Jerky's auch bei
Quick
Wave.
drop down. Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho.
Anders ist auch schon dead. Tyson ist dead von Hellfire. Okay, Digga, Tyson ist
We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mat. So up on Height, Queasy is still trying for it. Here comes
Queasy Forza ist an Zone gestorben. Tulex hat gekillt, hä? Tulex hat jemanden. Tulex? Nein, die sind auf High. Nein, halt dein Maul. Die fighten High. Die werden gerampt von Kirchi. Die sind schon wieder High, Digga. Junge! Queasy, Jerky und Tulex sind schon wieder High. Holy shit, Digga. Da geht so safe der Rasenmäher an, hä? Der Rasenmäher geht also. Ohne Facecam, ohne Musik, hä? Ich setze den Rasenmäher hier jetzt. Für Tulex Team. Refsgrad hat hier aber auch noch ein AP, es ist mein Trio. Savage 39 HP! Endoretta hat auch 80 HP noch. Die sind alle übelst low HP. Shit on! Bro, du wurdest geschittet, Bro, was hast du mit denen gemacht? Savage, Bro. Der hat den Merchant anders hochgenommen. Void! Er hat Void geschittet, Digga. Savage is on fire.
Savage down, and then a clap. The entire trio's taken out. The bottom side of the zone has been invaded by the
Queasy, Tulex und Jerky, das ist deren Runde, Mann. Das ist deren Runde. Oh no, Queasy, Bro, joke nicht rein. Oh mein Gott! Bro! Den nächsten! Wieso shitten die alle so alle weg, Mann? Holy shit! Jetzt, Bro, er hat den Finish bekommen, wirklich sehr wichtig, Bro. Jerky lebt aber auch noch. Er ist nicht alleine. Es ist ein 2 gegen 1. Das sollten die eigentlich schaffen gegen Snazy. Und das ist der zweite oder dritte Win schon heute für Trulex, Queasy und Jerky. Holy shit.
13 eliminations and the victory royale. The adjustments are ringing true, and we're seeing what Height is doing in this meta.
Wieso wurden 6 Likes zurückgezogen? Ich hatte vor 12 Likes, ich habe jetzt 6, hä? Was ist da los?
They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Crazy's trio.
Ja, jetzt habe ich noch 4 Likes. Das ist verbuggt. Das ist so verbuggt.
Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Die Zahl, die nachher steht, in 5 Stunden, die zählt.
Guys, I said it.
Das war krank, also Tulex glaubt, die sind erster Rang.
High ground kings, okay? I don't understand. They're not even in high ground, okay? It's like, all right, this is it. The tail of the
also Trulex, Jerky und Queasy, ich glaube, das ist Queasy, die werden gerade für mich so World Cup Kandidaten in Trios. World Cup Trios. Safe. Wenn es ein World Cup Trios gibt, ich hoffe es gibt Duo und Solo, also ich mag Trio halt einfach nicht, aber ja, ist crazy.
They chopped it out, they managed to just get it from there, and like you said, you know, we did see Kyrian's team going for that, but you know, I'm pretty sure Trulex had peppers at that time because he flew ahead, if not, he
ich hoffe halt immer noch für Savage.
One of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3-4 elims, pretty much none coming to movement. I think there was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long it feels like Savage's trio has been above.
Für eine Stimme,
Guys, man, all season long when we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, you know, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've like done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Like before that sort of run they started to have, it was always Queasy's the most unlucky player. they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
Ooh, that's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games left to go, so I want to kind of turn our attention to teams 4, 5, and 6 coming into this last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do to look and strike that #1 spot?
Well, I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent to remain at this point, right? All of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while. You know, you look at Stormy, right, Reaction 2. It's weird, I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory royale, right? They are still lacking that victory royale to sort of solidify themselves, and so maybe that's what they need to push themselves into contention.
Yeah, and you know, you said no critiques, and I totally agree with you on their team. They're really consistent, but just not managing to have those big games that they need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas, kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was the game where they didn't quite manage to pick up the victory round, game 1 today. So you know they were down kind of that 56 range. And, you know, for these guys, they obviously won first, but 3 is really where they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and Reason O'Reilly with a deal went down in 21st that game, right? So they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they have
let's go, Jerky's erster, das war klar. Savage, Nate Tyson,
Queasy, Trelix, and Jerky are now at the top of the standings. 3 victory rounds joining O'Reilly, Reason, and Badil in that free group. Like, this is some crazy stuff.
This is actually really insane, because I think this is the first time today that we've seen Restaurant and Trans lose the first place slot. So right, this is the first time they've gone down, but again, only 5 points between it. And man, if you look at this, you see Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, Fifth Zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place comes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want a home spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe Stompy and Shadow. They had that one victory yesterday, not been able to do much outside of that. I think a big disappointment here is Red Rush Exteriors and Map, who came into today in what, 5th place or something? Third place, and now they're sitting in 12th, right? Things are really falling off for them. They need to sort of pick things up. And Floki, Clement, and the Sixers, to me, right? They're what, the second best team today. If you were just getting the standings from today, they've been like a top 3 team today. But because of their failings from yesterday, it is still an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, yesterday is a day that they probably won't want to talk about too much, to be honest, but you know, we have to when you look into the cumulative scores, and you know, them in 14th right now, definitely that's still a huge achievement, but these guys were looking for a top 3 finish, let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here, you know, Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits, you've got to think that Flois, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pop off a huge amount. And yes, they're currently in 20th, right? They're not in there. But again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So it's definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights. And the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So,
a little bit.
Not bad. Yeah.
Oh man, boys, we only have 2 games left to go. It is a battle between first and second place. How is this all going to go? How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats, Fortnite fam. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho with Shy Wager. Back over to you, friends.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. 2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region.
Ich glaube, ein Team ist gebannt, oder? Oder macht das einfach nicht mit?
Prize pool is at stake. And now, Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky, the only thing that concerns me is this split that they have. We saw in the qualifier stage numerous times somebody random just hiding and waiting out where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory. And look, bad sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment, looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Trillux is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, you know, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Trulex. And make sure no one's flying in. He always ends up landing early because this kind of generator buildings on the... They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Trulex can be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feet to Nikov. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over. Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, Noah Riley, the deal, reason. I mean, by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a first place, at least today. So patterns are correct. They could win this game and have a big showing.
Liegt das an mir oder an Fortnite, dass es mich mal so legt? Liegt an Fortnite, ne?
This is going to be monumental for Chopix and Hidden Genesis.
Sonst wär's ja unlucky.
They have to walk away from Craigie Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up. Right now, they slipped down one spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Hi, Chris, Vortex, Knight, the thorn on our champion's side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, you know, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 E